And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to check out the first official expansion for the game Escape the Curse of the Temple. Escape Illusions. Comes with a bunch of different modules, an extra player, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of goodies. Is it a must-have expansion? Can you play the game without it? These are the questions you want to know. Oh, but before you go, check out this illusion. Now how's that for an illusion? Well, let's take a look at what comes inside the Illusions expansion. First, you're going to get 6 illusion chambers. Next, you're going to get 3 linked chambers. Then you're going to get 2 double chambers. You're also going to get a treasure chamber with a chalice. You're going to get an extra new adventurer, a purple one, with its own person and dice. You're going to get 2 of the same extra new curse cards and 2 new treasure tiles with a torch on them. First, let's take a look at the illusion tiles and how those play. Now, in this game, when you play with the illusion tiles, you first take the 6 single gem tiles from the original base game and you remove them and replace them with the 6 illusion tiles. It's also important to note that all 6 illusion tiles have the cursed icon on them. So if you are playing with the cursed variant of the game, that each time an illusion tile is pulled, and a curse is pulled as well. Now if you're not playing with the cursed variant of the game, when you pull an illusion tile, just disregard the cursed icon. So let's say we're getting close to the end of the first round before the first gong. And here's the board setup. We have a black player who's kind of hanging around the start sign. We have a blue player here in the illusion chamber. And we have a purple player over here trying to get some gems in that chamber. Now, this blue player already got a gem by rolling 4 keys in the illusion chamber. When the gong sounds, everyone's going to frantically run back to the start just like before. So maybe this person comes back and this person comes back. Now, when the door shuts, any gems that you've received, that you've been able to leave on any of the illusion tiles do get removed to get placed back in the box. They do count as being removed, but when that happens, the illusion tiles are going to get removed from the game and put in the bottom of the stack. Now, when the second round starts, you continue to play. Notice that now there's empty spots that you'll need to go re-find, and in this case, it's a pretty important one where the gems are there. It might even be the exit too, where you lose sight of the exit. So you start going here, and maybe the purple guy goes back here, and this blue guy goes over here, and they find they get 2 men and they find another tile. Same with this guy, he discovers a new tile here, and people start coming over here and they're finding the tiles like normal. Oh, there's another illusion, and this goes on and on. This person finds another one and it's an illusion. And so let's say this person's in here working on this gem, this person's in there working on those, and this person's in here working on those. Now, again, there's a second round ending here, and let's say the gong ends. And let's say this person gets back, let's say this person only gets to here, and let's say this person's really trying to get this gem here, and let's say the door shuts at the end of the second round. So what happens now? Well, first of all, these get removed just like before and they get placed in. Now, if somebody's on an illusion temple chamber when the gong, when the door shuts after the gong, they lose 1 die and they get moved back to the center, and this goes back to the bottom. This player, just like normal, would lose a die. So essentially, that's how the illusion chambers are played. Now let's take a look at those linked chambers. There's 3 of them that come with this expansion. In this case, all 3 of them out. We have 1 here, 1 here, and 1 up here. And notice we have each of the adventurers in each of the linked chambers. Now, when they're in each of the linked chambers, they have to be linked in order to put gems there. For example, if none of these players were in the linked chamber, this person could not activate this gem. If at least one other person is in a linked chamber, now both of these people can work solely on their own chamber. For example, this blue person can only go and try to roll 3 men to get a gem, and this person can only go for keys. They cannot share dice between the two of them because they're in different linked rooms. If this purple person was in this linked room, these two, like normal, could share dice to try to get this gem and to help each other with golden masks to get rid of black masks. If all 3 of them are there, then all 3 of them at the same time are working together to try to get the gems that are in their room, but they have to have someone there. Now let's say that this chamber has not come out yet, and this purple adventurer is just there, and these two are able to successfully get the gems. Now let's say later on that turn, after these have been activated and they've gotten the gems, this one comes out. Once the gems have been activated in the linked chambers, if the 3rd one comes out, you can't go ahead and link it because it missed its turn, because these have to be linked at the same time. So either you're going to wait for all 3 to come out and try to get all of them, or if you do 2 of them, you have to know that if you get the gems for those, you can no longer use the 3rd linked chamber later on. Now let's look at the double chambers. Let's say if an adventurer is here and they uncover a new room and they get this chamber. Notice there's a wall here, and you can't just go in there. Now you're gonna have to build all the way around, but there is 2 gems for just 4 keys, which is a pretty good deal, because in the normal chamber, 2 gems would cost you almost twice that of 7 amounts. So you have to get there. Now, they would have to move into this room by rolling a man and a torch like usual. They would then need to try to find another tile, and it might be an illusion tile. They would have to move into this room. They would need to find then yet another chamber, move into this room, and then they would have to yet find another chamber just to come all the way around to get into this room, and now they can roll this. Now, you cannot use the teleport treasure to move into this room. That's one of the things. Also, same type of thing as if somebody, this black player down here, found it, then again, they would have to move into this room, find a new one, move into this room, and as you can see, this one doesn't even allow him to find it. So he might actually have to run around and go the long way and try to find it down here. Come here and hopefully he'll find one here. And in this case, he would sort of be blocked from this. Now keep in mind that at the end of this round, these are going to discontinue. They're going to get removed because they're the illusions, and then he can hopefully find a way around. Or he could continue to try to find his way around, but again, he gets blocked. So some of these double chambers can be hard to get to, but the rewards can be definitely worth it. Now let's talk about the treasure chamber and the chalice. Let's guess that this blue player here finds a new chamber here by rolling 2 men, pulls this out there and finds the treasure chamber with the sort of pile of gold in it. The chalice now goes here, and this gentleman he has to go in there, and he has to try to carry the chalice back to the exit. Now, you cannot win unless the chalice has also gone to the exit with you. And notice on this tile there's a torch there. What that means is in order to carry this anywhere, you would normally need a man and a torch to come here. Anytime you have the chalice, you always need to roll an additional torch. So to get into this room, he would have to roll a man, a torch, and a second torch to bring it here. Now, if this purple guy wants to come over here and help, maybe he wants this blue guy to run somewhere else and go get some gems, or maybe they want to stick together, that they both need, in this case, a man, a key, and a torch. So they would bring it over here. And again, all the way over here, they need to continue to use the torch, an additional torch, all the way, and as soon as it gets to the exit, it then leaves and it's gone. It makes it a lot harder to play with this module. Now let's talk about the Soul Exchange curse, the additional curse that comes with this game. What it makes you do is choose another player and exchange adventure tiles with him. Now until the curse is lifted, you each control the other character, and you do not change the locations when exchanging tiles. So let's say this guy drew a curse that had this on it. He would then have to switch tiles. Let's just say he selects this blue guy. So the tiles would get swapped. The pieces don't move, and now the black player controls the blue player, and the blue player controls the black player. And it just causes a lot of confusion. And to lift it, you need to get 3 torches. Let's talk about the last piece of this, which is a large torch treasure. Let's assume with a blue guy here, we get into a room with treasures, we roll 2 keys, we flip over the treasure and we get a large torch. What that does is it just stays in this chamber that we're in now, and this can serve as an additional starting chamber for all players at the end of the round. And so if someone's way over here and they can't get all the way back to here, after the gong rings, so if they can't get all the way back to the start, they could use this as a start and still be safe, but then at the end of that countdown, this tile gets removed from the game. All right, there's illusion. Now, if you're watching this, you probably have already mastered the game of Escape the Curse of the Temple, the base game. Now, first, I remember when you first started playing it, you played the base game, maybe it was hard at first, then after a while your group got good at it, and then you added the curses and the treasures, and then it felt like you were getting beat up all over again. But then after a while you figured it out, you've been able to kind of work together if you're working with the same group. And then you took the treasures out to try to make it super hard, and at first it still was kind of hard, but then you figured it out, and then you're like, well, what's next? That's how I feel with my group. Now with the illusions, I love how it adds so many ways to vary the game. With the base game, even though it came with the curses and the treasures, you literally had 4 different ways to play the game. The base game, you could add the curses for a second, you could add just the treasures for a third, or you could add curses and treasures for a fourth. Now with this, I've done some permutation calculations here, and you get 16 times more variants to play as a total of 64 different ways to play this game and mix and match it up after you have this expansion. That's huge value because now you have all these different ways to ratchet up or down the difficulty. Okay, first things first, the illusion chambers. Those are cool. I really like them because they totally screw you up. When you've got an illusion chamber, you got to try to get the gems for them before they go away, because once they go away, you know, you're gonna have to wait till you get to the bottom of the pile to get them. So you're rushing there to get the gems. And then if you've got some chambers that really mean a lot afterwards and they're kind of separated and that kind of screws you up, I really like the illusion chambers. I think they're cool. Now let's go through some of the special chambers. That double chamber, man, is that, whoo, that thing is trickery, because every time you see it, you're like, oh, there's some gems. It's easy to get. Let's go get them. You don't realize how far around it, you really have to go to get there. You have to go like 1, 2, 3 more tiles just to get there. So sometimes it can be hard. If one of those tiles that comes up ends up being an illusion, then it goes away later. A lot of times, we didn't even end up going for these, but it did cause us to kind of gamble, and they could come up later in places where you could get at them. But again, it added an extra level of difficulty that I did like. Now let's talk about the treasure chamber. Oh man, this is crazy. So when this thing shows up and you have to drag that chalice around and everybody has to, you have to roll an extra torch. Rolling an extra torch doesn't sound that bad, but when you're frantically trying to get to the start when the gong sounds or to the exit when the gong sounds, and you got to do that extra torch, man, that one extra die, you don't think it adds a lot, but man, it adds a lot of difficulty to get there. And then the link chambers, those are really cool. They're very thematic. You got to step on, each of you have to be in the link chamber in order to do it. And one person has to stay there till the other person can get it. And then when the link chambers come out, you're like, oh, do we go for the first 2 or do we wait for all 3 of them to come up? Wait till later. There's just a lot of cool things with these tiles. I really liked it. And again, it added so much more variability, 64 different ways to play. Now the new curse, the soul exchange. At first I thought it was dumb, but after playing with it for a while, it's actually pretty cool. When you have to switch the tiles and you're playing the other player, it causes mass confusion. And when you switch those tiles, that changes things up too, because everything's just different. The walls can be blocking off places. I like that. The torch treasure. That was cool. To add an extra starting point really can help in the game. And then adding the 6th player was cool too, the purple player. So all in all, I think this is a great expansion. Now, if I'm playing with a new group or with the majority of players that I've never played before, I still play the base game first. That's it, base game. We play that until we get good at it. Then we add curses until we get good at it. Then I add in illusions. For my group that we work together and we know how to play the game, we just bang it out with illusions and all the expansions actually. We actually can take out the treasures if it gets too easy. So I love it. I think it's a must-have if you are familiar with the game and your group is really good at it. It's a must-have for your good superstars at this game. I won't use it with new players though until we get there. So it's really good because base for new, expansion for the really people that know what you're doing, great. I think it's a must-have for Escape.
So much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.